Well, happy Monday, everybody. It is October 21st, 2019. Journal 202, T+202. Starting to get sensing a great deal of anticipation about going out to Duarte on Thursday for my lab work and visit with my hemonc doc. So if I start to seem a little edgy and anxious, that's probably the root cause of it all. So bear with me. I always get a little bit strange when it's time to start poking me and drawing blood. Uh, but that's not what I want to talk about today. Well, the, this is something that's been bumbling around in my head for a while, but it's interesting. I hope you find it as interesting as I do, actually. Um, it has to do with a scene. Has to do with a scene in On the Waterfront, classic Marlon Brando movie, and one of the more famous scenes in that movie is where Brando's passionately, I think he's talking to Frederick March, if I'm not mistaken, but I have to go look that up now. Uh, and he says, I could have been a contender. I could have been a contender. And always wondering about what that meant. What exactly is the implication of that, both for the character and what it means to all of us in life? Because, I mean, we're all trying to move forward. I mean, I'd like to believe that anyway, that we're all trying to move forward with our lives, within our lives. Uh, and what does that mean? I mean, how does that speak to us? What does it have to say? Um, what is our responsibility when it comes to being a contender, when it comes to succeeding, when it comes to overcoming obstacles and challenges in your life in order to get the success that you're looking for, the success that you desire, the success that I'm sure you deserve. Um, I mean, it means bringing your A game to everything you do. I think that's the price of admission. That's what it takes just to play. But to play and win is a little bit different. I think it has a lot more to do with a number of other variables uh, that are deeply rooted in each of us and our ability to, not our ability to sacrifice, our willingness to sacrifice in order to achieve a long-term goal or objective. And the questions then start to switch when we start to focus on ourselves and the role that we play in our own success, right? They almost have to. It's like, what's going to be expected of you? What do you expect of yourself in order to make this happen? Um, are you willing to make those sacrifices? What are you willing to pay for that success? And how do you balance it with all the other things that are going on in your life at any given moment? Is that picture of success that you've painted for yourself, is that canvas clear? Is it accurate? Does it clearly represent what it is you want? Or is it more a matter of what you think you want? I mean, how many times have you heard of people working diligently to achieve a great deal of success and only to realize that their destination isn't consistent with what they thought it would be? Are you able to identify those obstacles that stand in your way? You know, we've spoken about that a great deal over the last 202 um, blog posts. Obstacles are real. Uh, Challenges are real. Confrontations are real. How you measure up against them, how you measure yourself against them, are critically important to this whole notion of success. And I guess the other question, and it's a valid question also, is do you even want to be a contender? Is that kind of competition something that you're comfortable with? Um, and again, what are you willing to balance against it? What are you willing to give up in order to get it? Because you can't have everything. You know, it's very, very rare. We used to kid around and have a sign in the shop once upon a time, a long time ago, that said fast, good, cheap, pick any two. You can have it fast and you can have it good, but it's not going to be inexpensive. You can have it good, but it may not be fast and it may not be cheap. So you have to balance all of these things out in your life when you're moving forward. And this idea of being um, a contender for what? What's the prize? What is it that you're shooting for? Have you established that in your own mind? Is it clear? Do you have a vision? And I say all of these things because they have a whole new meaning for me now, um, that the book is complete. And again, I've mentioned this before, and it's not something that I mention proudly because it's really kind of dumb. But my biggest focus, my the focus that consumed me was finishing the book, getting it done, without really thinking about what was necessary in order to get the book out into the world and to have people read it, and how difficult that really is, and how rare it is, um, for books to get noticed in the marketplace and to find, a following, a readership. And if you believe with a perfect faith, as I do, that the content of Misfire, what to do when things aren't running on all cylinders, is worthwhile, if is something that will make a difference in the reader's life, should they choose to take those lessons to heart. And I've gotten enough feedback now on early adapters, uh, early readers, to reinforce that belief based on what they've told me about the changes that they've made in their own lives or in their own businesses, that have been validated by the results they've gotten. And the more that happens, the more convinced you are that uh, the message is important and needs to go out into the world. And then you start figuring, okay, if I'm going to contend in that marketplace, if I'm going to contend in that marketplace, what do I have to do? What do I have to do to get Misfire's message out there? Who do I have to talk to? Who needs to be influenced in that regard so that they can influence others? And none of that's easy. I don't think it's meant to be easy. I don't think it should be easy. I don't think it's supposed to be easy. Um, I think if it was easy, it would cheapen it somehow, but it's not. I don't think it has to be as hard as it is either, but um, it is difficult, and maybe that's a good thing. I certainly don't have a problem with that, and I seem to be doing okay with it. However, it does get you to thinking about this whole issue of I could have been a contender, or I will be a contender, or I am a contender, and how you frame all of this mentally, uh, and what that implies, what that has to do with whether or not you're going to be a success or how much of a success you're going to be. So when Brando says he could have been a contender, he's bemoaning the fact that he was defeated. There were forces in his life that acted against him, and acted against his success. And that always has me wondering about how true that is for most of us, how willing we are to allow that to be true, what we're willing to do to ensure that it doesn't become true, that we can overcome, we can improvise, we can adapt, and find the success that we're looking for to become the champions that we're meant to be. And don't get me wrong, I'm not naive. I recognize that not everybody's going to be or even wants to become a champion. But for those of us who do, for those of us who are on that path, um, these are all considerations that you have to identify and lay out so that you can become a contender, so that you don't have to be a victim, so that you don't have to think that people were conspiring or the universe was conspiring against you, so that you can know in your heart of hearts that you fought the good fight, you brought your A game, you left everything out on the field, and that if things didn't work out, it's certainly through no fault of energy or effort or intelligence on your part. Uh, so perhaps the question, needs to be framed differently. Maybe we don't bemoan the fact that we could have been a contender. Maybe we just ask what it takes to become a contender, and then work diligently toward that goal once that's identified and it's in front of us. That's what I got for you today. Stay well. Take care. Hope you enjoy a beautiful, albeit slightly windy, Southern California afternoon. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Bye bye.